Mike.
Oh, my.
It's the ghosts.
What now?
I can't see them anymore. I can't see them anymore.
What do you mean?
My gift, it's gone. I can't see ghosts anymore.
April Fools!
Is she laughing? Are you laughing?
I don't think she's laughing.
Hello and welcome to Haunting Button House, a BBC Ghosts podcast. I am Luke and I am joined by Tash. Tash, how are you?
I'm right, thanks, Luke. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
I was tempted then to just leave a silence and just see what happened next, but nothing because
would happen next.
Nothing. It'd be terrible at podcasting. So
what have you been up to? Well, I've been up to because I'm very excited to tell people that Luke and I went to a quiz in the village in which my mum lives, and one of the questions of the quiz
I forgot about that. Yeah,
was in BBC series Ghosts. What is the surname of Alison and Mike?
Yeah,
You just ruined my question. You just talked over me.
it's like Mike. I thought you were, anyway. Yeah, Mike and Alison. What's their surname? So
And we got that bang on correct. 1 point.
Although I was going to say, what was I saying at one point? I was saying, oh no, it was
You
in
got
the
it
last,
wrong in the last episode.
It was the last episode where I started saying carpenter, like
Yeah.
some kind of crazy fool.
In our last episode, you couldn't remember their surname. So we got that one right.
We did. We didn't win, but
We didn't even come close.
No.
The fact is, that was one question that came up, and we were like, it was funny because the people that we were with know that we do this podcast, and they were like, because it was a Halloween themed quiz.
We should probably say, as we are recording this, it is actually Halloween. Yeah.
So we might have to stop if we get knocks at the door.
Or egged.
But the people that we were with said, oh, wouldn't it be funny if there was a ghost question? Little did we know,
Lo and behold,
there was going to be a ghost question.
I feel like the TV round was our best round by far, which is probably a sober look at our lives. So we go, wow, we didn't know anything else other than TV.
I like how my mum's only contribution to the entire quiz was what Victor Meldry's wife was called.
But I had no idea who it was.
No, and she got it right, and that's why she's on our team.
Yeah, she brought in the points. So, that was our quiz. We also did a
pumpkins.
We did, we made some pumpkins.
Maybe I'll post a photo of our pumpkins.
Yeah, in the Halloween spirit. Yeah. And I guess, is this Halloween? We did a murder mystery game. I don't know what you would call it. It is just a game, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't dress up or anything like that. It's just you're the detective team, I suppose. And there's all this. It comes with like a pack of evidence and stuff like that. And basically, you have to try and figure out who murdered this person or who, if there was multiple.
It was called Murder at Merryvale Manor.
Yeah.
So this female racing car driver got murdered, and we had to try and figure out. Well, it was closed off as a suicide, wasn't it? That she'd taken her own life, but
something was afoot.
Something was not right, and we cracked the case.
We did, yeah. I was panicking right at the end because you have to, when you finish it, you have to type in the name and press enter on a computer, to say this is what we deduced. And I was like, oh, please, let's not, because it took us 4 hours basically to get to that point.
There was us and 2 others.
Yeah.
So it was. Well, we got it in the end. So
we did it, so I didn't need to worry.
I had every faith in us. So.
Not me, apparently. Did we get any feedback on our last episode?
Lots.
Okay.
Lots. So Mary Ann said that Albert the pug sounds like a fun fellow. He is.
He is, yeah.
They love old dogs, and old pugs are just so charming. He is the charming of them all.
Fun fact about Albert. He's named after Albert Einstein.
Yes. Oh. Marianne said, I didn't sign up for the live stream, but I did order the new book, which should be here by December 9th. Slow boat mail, I guess, and our mail over here is brutally slow. I guess that's America, isn't it, Marianne? But it sounds like it'll be worth the wait. And then she mentioned that I've been giving her one of the books.
You don't have to whisper on this because everybody listens to this, isn't there now? It's the it's the Instagram lot.
So anyway, we'll go into the feedback. So Marianne said, no, the falling in the hole dynamic in the US Ghosts isn't ring related.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Our first exposure to falling into a well happened last season when one of the regular characters fell into the literal well and was trapped as she couldn't climb up the walls. The situation was resolved in a very emotionally charged episode that was pre-warned with a trigger alert for sensitive viewers, as we learned how one of our main characters died. I don't want to spoil the episode since you haven't watched it, but it was a very well done and clever solution. At that point, we were then made aware of a previous stuck in a hole event where a Puritan ghost named Patience was lost in the dirt as 4 characters attempted to escape from another hole. Patience is back in this new series now, vengeful, angry, and has a special ghost power that is particularly spooky. Looking forward to series 5 with you both.
I completely forgot about my ring comment, and I was like, ring. I was like, yeah. I just, that's the only ghost I know that got stuck in a well.
Yeah. So Caroline said, I wasn't watching last night, so just going to go with what you have to say. Yes, hopefully we said the right thing.
I think a lot of people might do something like that where, because it's quite niche to watch the live stream, I think. So hopefully.
And it was expensive as well, really.
Yeah, it was expensive.
£30. I know you get a copy of the book, which is, good. But still, £30 just to sit in your own living room is a lot. So yeah, but
as I said to you, in a counterpoint, you would probably pay that same amount if you watch like a film, a new film that'd come out. Do you remember when you can go to cinemas?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Caroline said, I also won't get the book until my birthday next month. It was interesting to hear that Matt felt they were sort of expected to go down the history route for this project because of what they'd done before. I think he must have been meaning in terms of what they'd done together as a group, because each of their individual projects over the years have been across a wide variety of genres, mainly comedy, but not with a history angle. Looking quickly through their IMDb entries from before Ghost, Simon was heavily involved in the Paddington movies and in Alan Partridge. Matt did The Wrong Mans with James Corden and had a small but recurring part in Gavin and Stacey. Yes.
Yeah. What was the first one who was involved with Alan Partridge?
The Wrong Man. Oh, it just says it was in...
Who was that?
Simon was in Alan Partridge. Or heavily involved with Alan Partridge.
Okay, I guess Simon's done a lot of stuff though. To be honest, he's done a lot of films. He was in, what's it called, The Bunny and the Bull or something like that as well. Very different character. And was he in Mighty Boosh as well? I want to say that he was, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah,
no.
It's funny because they've all done a lot of stuff separately. Like so, both. Pat, what's his name now? The actor's name. I'm just gonna know what I mean. That
oh my god! Sorry, I'm just changing. I've just read on to Caroline's thing, and I'm like, oh my god! She said that he was also Gavin and Stacey as well as recurring in The Split. That's Matt. Ben has done a lot of TV work. He was in The Thick of It, and There She Goes. I watched that, and I was like, who was he in There She Goes? And it's just clicked, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. So yeah, I've seen that, as well as other stuff. Jim was in Broadchurch too.
Yeah, he was in Broadchurch.
I think we watched
Didn't he
that.
play like a really nasty character?
Yeah, and we watched that, I think, whilst doing this podcast, and I was like, oh my God.
And obviously...
She said, far from a funny character.
Yeah. He's also in Peep Show as well.
Yes,
That's who I was trying to think of, He plays Gerard. But so, he was in Peep Show as well?
Dino.
Dino.
That's the character in Governor Stacey.
Matthew Bainton was in that as well.
Yeah. Caroline said, regarding the pilot, I was really surprised that they showed bits from it, as they'd always stressed that this was not for public consumption. Fascinating to get a glimpse into what they tried, but I think what they arrived at in the end was so much tighter and more effective, and allowed them to look at the more emotional aspects. Thanks for run through of the book. It's really whetted my appetite. I'll not put my name into the drawer, as I have a copy coming. What drawer?
The pilot, I guess that's the perfect sort of time to do a pilot, to show off the pilot, because it's all super fans, you know what I mean? Like, who want behind the scenes stuff. I don't think I've ever seen... I think we tend to see like pilots for American TV shows, because they tend to be the ones that eventually are the very first episode. But in the UK, I feel like we never tend to see the pilot stuff. They tend to get done that and then go, okay, do that, but better.
Alison says, my book won't be arriving for a couple of weeks due to the shipping time, but hearing the live feed and then you guys going through the book has made me even more excited. I can't wait. I really enjoyed the launch, and I think having Charlotte as host made it even more special. They were very inclusive, asking her about her experience. I totally agree.
Yeah, I think
they were
was,
like,
I think it
really made it.
It's kind of like having another panel member.
Yeah, basically. I love that she felt welcomed into the family and missed the green room. I imagine that making the programme during lockdown made the unit even tighter, and feeling that they were all doing something to allow people a little escapism during a very bleak time would have helped this. When you mentioned that Tom Kingsley had worked on Stathlet's Flats and he may have met Kyle there, I was thinking that all of the non-6 main characters had appeared on that show.
True, yes.
Though Charlotte and Lolly were only in one episode each, it may have been a casting call for him. Yeah,
that is true, actually, yeah.
True.
I forget that Lolly was in it as well. She's one of the estate agents, isn't she?
Yeah. Though Katie and Lolly were both in Horrible Histories too. Also, Matt saying that they were expected to do an historic show. I had also heard in the past that part of the decision to play historical characters was partly to do with their love of dressing up. I was surprised and delighted to see part of the pilot. They had said this would never see the light of day. Thanks again for an excellent podcast. I'm really looking forward to hearing Series 5.
It's funny that there's a lot of feedback saying that they were thinking of doing a historical show, because they did say that it literally was 50-50 over whether they were going to do that or a sci-fi show as well. So it could really been a very different show.
Definitely. Jess said, I really enjoyed this episode. It was such a treat hearing from the cast on the behind the scenes live stream. The balance of humour and insights they brought really matched the spirit of the show. I think that's like, I feel like they're not their characters, obviously. But it definitely felt like warm, like nice to watch, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then Jess said, I can't believe we are in the last series.
Well, I know. We are. Yeah, literally. We've got 7 episodes left.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Claire said, enjoyed listening to your thoughts on the live stream and initial impression of the book. I'm midway through my copy, and like Tash, one of my first pages I flicked open was Mary's costume. It was lovely to see the inspiration picture. Really enjoyed the behind the scenes logistic pages, how to film Humphrey's head, how they shot Mike on the roof, etc. It really shows how creative the team had to be to get the ideas to work so flawlessly on screen. Looking forward to Series 5 run through. Sorry, I keep clicking on the wrong thing here. Nick said, I've had such a busy week recovering from wisdom teeth extractions and also juggling 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Ouchie. That sounds painful. Lots of sympathy for you. So I've just got round to watching the live stream. Aren't they just a joy to watch? I love the behind the scenes gossip and can't wait to finally dig into the book eventually. I'm looking forward to listening to your thoughts on series 5. There are still some absolute gems to come. Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't want to get into the episode yet, but yes, I won't talk about it yet. Tom said, what a fantastic show. You guys echoed a lot of my thoughts on the behind the scenes live stream. So annoying they didn't read any of your questions.
Well, never mind.
Exactly. But never mind. I'm like so over it, like I don't even care. I didn't even read our questions. Alice said, behind the scenes. Hi, Tash and Luke. I have absolutely loved your podcast. I've watched right from the beginning and the weekly laughs have got me through the last year and moving to uni in the last few weeks. I absolutely love the detail that you go into. No one else has done it quite so well.
Oh, well, I've not listened to the official Ghosts podcast,
No.
but I imagine they might have some greater insight than us. Not to... We're still good. No.
I would absolutely love the new book. I got the first one for Christmas and absolutely adore it. All the best and thank you for your podcast. And then Alice also said, looking forward to the last episodes, and it's going to be sad when it ends, and it is going to be really sad. I might cry.
I know.
I'm not saying I won't cry.
I mean, it was an emotional one the first time we watched it, wasn't it? So yeah. So we shall see.
So Cheryl said about gifting a copy of the behind the scenes book. And Cheryl said, I listened to your pod when walking Wesley and Willow, and they love long episodes because that means extra sniffs on the walk. And Cheryl kindly sent us photos of Wesley and Willow, and they are adorable.
What breed are Wesley and Willow?
Ooh.
It's hard to tell.
I want to say maybe Border Collie, but I'm not sure. Cheryl would have to let us know. That's...
Yeah, it looks like Border Collie, yeah.
Can you let us know, please? Cheryl said, I agree that Gone Gone is the gold standard episode and must say that the singing of In the Bleak Midwinter Christmas Series 1 is one of my favourite moments. I've been enjoying the book overviews and learning more about the characters. Except the captain's name, perhaps one of the questions you could ask listeners would be to reveal what they think his name is and why. But I don't know, is his name...
I think his name's definitely revealed, but I can't remember when and where.
Because I think I know what his name is.
Yeah, I've definitely seen his name because I've seen it on like the Wikipedia of Ghosts,
Yes,
you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's sourced and everything. So
yeah, I wonder why they kept it secret so long. Because all through the book, like we mentioned, like when we were going through the book, like it was always like covered by like a coffee stain or like a burn or something like that. So yeah, it's interesting that they could keep it quiet for so long. But yeah, I'm sure we do get to, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that definitely. And then the last piece of kind of feedback is from Nathan. So for those who've been listening all the way through, you might remember when we did ghost haunted locations, and we started in the West Midlands, and Nathan told us of a story of his nan driving through Cannock Chase, and saw a cyclist that she saw a cyclist that disappeared. So but Nathan sent us something that he found, came across on a Facebook page, I think he said, which was interesting. So it's like a map of, I think is it Cannock? Yeah, Cannock Chase. And it's got some like different little ghost stories. So I might share this, assuming I can share it because Nathan found it on a Facebook page. So I don't think it'll be too bad if I share it. But yeah, so some of them, it's got like a map. And then it says like a man walking on the chase in 1971 claimed to have seen a wolf-like creature rear up on its hind legs and speak to him in a voice sounding half human, half dog growl.
Skinwalker, that is then.
Okay. Just another one. A couple out walking one morning in 2019 saw an old gentleman in full World War II uniform marching past them, only to vanish seconds later. Another one, I was picking out a few of them. A woman driving past the tower one evening in 2012 reported seeing 3 orb-like lights travelling at high speed in the night sky before merging into a single large orb and disappearing.
Maybe it's aliens, that one.
Aliens.
Oh, that's we don't discuss aliens. We go strictly ghosts on this one.
The flickering flames of spectral candles are said to have been seen in the upper floor windows of the Tower of the Winds, supposedly those of cursed gamblers playing into the night. And that's a Shugborough. We've been there.
Oh, yeah, we have, yeah.
And then one more, I'll just pick a random one. In 1999, a witness said they watched a big black cat-like figure stroll across the road by the White House, one of the numerous regular sightings of this creature. So,
yeah,
very
that's quite a British sort of myth of black cats walking, like big black cats, not just like a normal kitty cat kind of
a shelly cat.
Yeah. They I've heard of stories like that on my old what was it called, Spine Chiller collection, where it's all different stories like that. I remember reading that they've been seen up north and stuff like that as well, and maybe it's just an escaped jaguar or something like that. Who knows? Anyway.
So that concludes the feedback. Thank you very much.
Quite a lot this week.
Yeah.
We should give away a book every week.
I wish we could. But yeah, thank you all for your feedback. And just to update on that, so today's Halloween, it's Thursday. So we gave until 12 o'clock tomorrow. Obviously, this is going to come out on Saturday, so it's going to be after 12 o'clock that this comes out. But I think we said Sunday we're going to put the names together into a spinner, and then I'll post it on the page. I don't know how else to do it, so
just do a video.
Just do a spinner, a video of the spinner, and then we'll pop that on maybe Sunday night. So if you're listening to this straight away, then watch out on Sunday, and we'll see where the book's going.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds fun. Should we get on with the episode?
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go from that one. So this week we are looking at the first episode of Series 5, titled Fools. It was directed by Simon Hind. So I never know how to pronounce it. So he's on for the last series as well. It does seem that they kind of have a director for a few series. I think it's only the first series director that only did one series, so they do seem to keep the director for a while. It was written by Lawrence Rickard. Original air date was the 6th of October 2023. So we start by seeing Alison and Mike waking up. I think it's such a subtle thing, but it's a thing to note here. Alison gets up and goes straight to the toilet straight away. Seems like just a normal thing that anyone would do, you know what I mean? But obviously...
I didn't even clock that she did that.
I didn't make a note of it, but I just remember, and I'm like, they're foreshadowing there. It's just that obviously you wouldn't ever expect what happens at the end. But they all wake up, and Alison goes to greet the ghosts as normal, as she usually does. But they just appear to have completely disappeared. She checks all their usual haunts under the stairs, under the sort of food cupboard, where they usually read books. Nowhere to be found. And she thinks that they've all gone, or she actually mentions that she's lost her gift to see them.
Well, she says that to Mike later on, doesn't she?
At this part,
yeah. But I just wanted to go back a little bit. I took a picture of the door, when she shut the pantry door.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was really interesting. There's a obviously a picture of Fanny.
Oh,
Because-
the pictures of all the ghosts.
yeah. Because it was
yeah.
like Mike's ghost chart, I think it says.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Fanny, and then Julian in the newspaper. It says Mary brackets toast. A picture of Kitty. It says like scout. You can kind of make out scout leader dies at 39. Pat, and a picture of him. The captain, like in the like a military photograph when they're like all the company together. I guess.
I think it's
like,
the one that we see in the book, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's where they're all
possibly.
sat down, like
and then it says Robin caveman and like a drawing of Robin and a drawing of Thomas.
yeah.
So yeah, it's quite. I just wanted to go back to that because it's just
I think
that
that's-
like attention to detail. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of.
I think we've seen that before, but we've not seen all of it. You know what I mean?
No.
So, yeah.
Because I think when Mike goes to it to see a picture of Fanny quite early on, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I just need to go back to
No,
that.
no,
I
it's-
thought that it was just interesting because it's just so quick, and if you didn't, well, I mean, I took a picture of the screen.
You don't
but,
pause it,
yeah. Like you would miss that kind of yeah. So.
Yeah, Alison goes back and she thinks that they've all gone, but to be honest, she actually thinks that her gift to see them has gone.
See, my initial thought was, have they all
Gone.
been
Ascended.
yeah. So yeah, it's not my initial thought. Like I did just yeah.
Well, her initial thought was that she couldn't see them anymore. Maybe that was, which would be far crueler, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Because they wouldn't be able to.
They'd be able to see her, but she wouldn't be able to.
I guess I'd
see
just
them back.
put like a pen.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Julian, move the pen if you're still here.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
see you anymore.
Yeah. But as we find out, this is all just a big April Fool's. As she's sort of contemplating this and sort of panicking.
Life without them.
Yeah, they all jump out of the wall and scream April Fools, and they'll start laughing. Alison, however, does not see the funny side to this and immediately starts crying. Pat starts asking if she's actually laughing, and they say, "I don't think she's
Are
laughing."
you laughing?
Yeah, I might put that as the quote for the intro, so you might have already heard that. And then we get into the intro of the episode. Quite a long setup, actually. I think that was about 2 minutes. I think where usually it's straight in with Ghost.
It varies though, because
Yeah.
we've had all kinds of intros, haven't we? So
Yeah, exactly. Mike goes to check in on Alison after all this, and she says she's completely fine. She says she's not upset because Mike says that she was upset earlier. But Mike is much more concerned with quite a pressing matter, I'd say, is their finances. Basically says that they don't get the profit now from the guest house, and obviously they're waiting on money from the insurance claim to come in from that being burned down, basically. Alison is not listening to him as he's explaining all this, as she's just massively preoccupied with coming up with prank ideas, basically, to get the ghosts back. And Mike kind of says, do what you need to do, but come back to me later when you can get your undivided attention so they can actually figure out what to do about
feels
this.
very familiar.
I ain't saying nothing. We then cut to, we hear a scream and we see that Alison has been impaled on a spike. Quite a jarring scene change. Obviously, we know this is Alison doing some kind of joke. As she said earlier, do we have a saw? So yeah, we can see the setting of that. No one seems to be bothered. She looks around. The only ghost to sort of witness this is Humphrey, and obviously he can't see, so useless. She gets
Well, it's
up,
just his body, isn't it?
yeah,
rather
Humphrey's
than
body, yeah,
himself.
yeah.
So.
She gets up to sort of give up, basically, and then she notices the ghosts are all coming back, so tries to reset, but they see her as she's sort of stumbling back down, and they all laugh at her and say that they aren't fooled.
Robin says, better luck next month.
Yeah, and they have to explain to him that there's no May Fool's Day.
You'd think he'd have got that in the 10,000 years that he's been alive. Well, not alive.
This is a question. I'm sure we'll get the answer to it. I have no idea how long April Fool's Day has been a thing.
Do you know, I'm really annoyed with myself because after I watched this episode, I was going to Google it and I
Yeah.
completely forgot.
Over how long it's been around.
I feel
yeah.
like Caroline might help us out with this one.
We should probably do this research actually.
Yeah,
ahead of time.
ourselves. 5 series in, we're not changing.
I get the feeling it's newer than we think, April Fool's
Yeah.
Day. Probably like, I don't know, something from the like early 1900s, I reckon.
Possibly.
But we'll see.
We could just Google
We
it.
could
now.
Google it now.
We're not gonna.
We might. Probably not. Anyway, as she goes inside, she meets Humphrey's head, and he chats to her about some prank ideas.
Impaled by a fence post, was it?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that was the idea, but probably a bit far-fetched.
Stranger things have happened.
I suppose so. Yeah. Well, it was worth a try.
So that's it, is it? Giving up?
Well, unless you have an idea.
Idea? No.
Okay.
Ideas? You betcha.
I'm listening.
Just think maybe you put all your eggs in one basket when it might be easier, dare I say more satisfying, to pick them off one by one. I mean, between us, we know them all pretty well. I'm sure we could work out which buttons to press.
What's in it for you?
To that lot, I'm just a punchline, a punch bag, a football. Then there was that time they stuck me up on that high shelf.
When was that?
Tuesday. Just think that maybe we're both due a little payback. And as I understand it, until midday on this particular day, anything goes.
Right. Thomas.
Need a hand with the wording?
No. I've got this one.
Start with the low-hanging fruit. Oh, talking of which, Kitty.
Okay, here's an idea. Now, it might be a bit complicated, so just bear with me, but what if we told her there was a balloon?
There's a balloon. Where?
No,
Everyone, there's a balloon.
Kitty, April Fool! No, okay, no, she's gone.
So I've done some Googling in our brief break. The origins of April Fool's Day. Nobody has an exact proposed date. So a disputed association between the 1st of April and foolishness is in Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales from 1392.
Cool, that's a long time
So
ago.
it could be as far back as that, but I don't think there's any like solid, this is when we started doing it. So I'm going to leave it there because we could be here all day reading Wikipedia articles. So obviously with that, they've started hatching their plot for revenge. They've already got Kitty at this point because she's ran off after a balloon.
Does she say a balloon?
Yeah. Literally within a second of them mentioning it, so she's immediately pulled.
I love how much she loves balloons.
It's that childlike sort of innocence in it of like just loving a balloon.
I think we could all learn a lot from Kitty.
That's
and
true.
her love of balloons.
And we also learn that she's going to start writing a letter to Thomas to meet in the wood store. So we see immediately following on from this, Thomas is wandering round and he wanders into Alison's love trap where she's laid rose petals. He sort of follows this kind of trail and sees this letter from Alison. Immediately falls for it. Of her,
I do feel a little bit sorry for her.
it's quite mean.
Yeah.
But also, they started it, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So, while this is happening, Mike hears a ring at the door and realises that he's going to have to deal with this because Alison is just completely preoccupied. And we find out this is Joy Keelty from Irish Friendly. Love Mike's response. English also friendly.
You'd think he'd remember what insurance company he was with.
This is the thing. I know, like, we're saying that Mike is the responsible one in this situation, but he's also quite aloof. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they both are, and that's probably why they sort of work.
Sorry, I was like, where's that bell? I think because it's Halloween, I'm kind of like on edge that like.
Yeah, no, it's my zip on my jacket.
Can you not have zips, please?
Yeah.
Today of all days.
I'll hold them. But yeah, it's she's from Irish Friendly. We find out this is the insurance company that they've logged their investigation. They've logged their claim, but obviously being a fire on a property, they need to do some investigating just about the claim. She kind of implies that it's suspicious, but I mean, surely any fire that happened would have to be investigated. You know what I mean? Like, they don't just flat out. If somebody's house burnt down, they wouldn't just flat out think, oh, yeah, they'd probably look into it and just make sure.
I suppose when the fire report came out that said, oh, it was definitely struck by lightning,
yeah,
then what is there to say?
Yeah.
But then I suppose, is your house insurance, it must be covered by lightning, because I wasn't sure if acts of God.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you'd be really annoyed if that happened. Anyway.
They must do. They must do.
Yeah, let's not worry about that for now. So yeah, they go off to have a chat and go and investigate this, where the fire took place. Elsewhere, we see the ghosts walking through the main dining room. I never know what it is. We should have the book on hand with us now. Now we have a map of the.
I think it was
the entertaining room or something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I know what it was. Oh, the book's right behind me. I could just go.
Could actually, yeah. But anyway, they're walking through there and they're discussing the finer points of bird watching, and where Pat says you can't go wrong with a sparrow, and he actually has gone wrong because it's not a sparrow. I can't remember the bird that he calls it, but he's a bit surprised that it's not a sparrow. Kitty runs in and informs them of the possibility of balloons. She sort of implies that it could be plural. And the ghosts all say that she's basically fell for one of Alison's pranks. And the captain then realises what's going on, that he sort of likens it to them being picked off by a sniper one by one, and takes it very seriously. He says that they need to all be on their what's the word? Be on their toes, basically. Alert to these possible pranks.
Scandal.
To which Alison walks past, and so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is apparently happening outside.
Honestly, I'm such a scared cat. Like, when it comes to Halloween, I don't like getting pranked.
I have no idea if that's been picked up on the microphone at all, but yeah, we just heard like a revving noise off in the distance, so if we start screaming, well, you wouldn't know who's going to put it
out. Well, we survived. Yeah. If you're listening to this, we survived Halloween.
Anyway, so yes. So as this is happening, as they're saying, stay on your toes, Alison walks past and is sort of having a conversation, or a fake conversation, where she says that they found a Stuka dive bomber in the woods. Mm-hmm. And the captain immediately is like, what? And goes off to investigate, literally runs off into the woods. And as he gets there, he finds the Stuka in question. It's a small, like, wooden model of one. And as he turns around, Alison has a sign saying April Fools
in the window. I like that. Yeah, she's just like holding it up. I quite like that kind of. I don't know.
She
literally just like an extra kind of like. Nah.
She gets all of them with that kind of thing, though, doesn't she? Yeah. I like the Jurassic Park reference. We get 2 film references in this, maybe more. I'm not sure. Where as he turns around, he says "clever girl," which is. As everyone remembers, it's when he gets mauled to death by the velociraptors in Jurassic Park. So I assume it's a reference anyway. Elsewhere, we see that the investigator doesn't exactly believe this story. Burnt down by lightning seems unlikely. And Mike really does not help the situation as he's trying to explain it without explaining the exact reasons as to what happened, because obviously he can't say, oh, it hit a ghost on the lawn first. So yeah, he's trying to say that he hid under a tree, which she asks, in a lightning storm, and he said that he couldn't leave the bear. It just keeps adding these like details to it. Obviously, when you say that loud, it's quite ridiculous.
It sounds far-fetched, doesn't it?
And then we see Thomas has finally found Alison in their love nest.
You got my note?
Indeed. I must confess I was somewhat taken aback by your candour. I had begun to wonder if you would ever see sense.
I think it was this morning, fearing I might never see you again. I suddenly realised the depth of my feelings. I can no longer deny that.
The frisson.
The frisson, exactly.
I knew you would succumb to my charms in the fullness of time. And Michael will understand, I'm sure of it. A dear soul, certainly, but not possessing of the depths you require. Desire.
Yeah. Shall we? Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. A love such as ours shall face many challenges. But where the heart is driven, the flesh shall find a way.
We can't even share a meal. Or a hug. Or a kiss.
Indeed. Such interactions are frustratingly limited.
Though I suppose there's always...
Oh, should we? Things are moving so fast, Oh, the angels in heaven.
April Fools! I totally got you.
Oh, that is priceless. I'm so amused right now. Because you would never...
Never.
Never.
Never. Never.
She's a monster.
You too, eh?
I think when he says, he's like, "Oh, the angels in heaven," and then when she like sort of rips her top open. I mean, that's not as like graphic as it sounds.
Yeah.
But he's like hysterical, like laughing. He's like, "I am so amused right now." It's just, I don't know. It's just really funny because he's just like laughing, but his heart is breaking.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he thought everything had come to him here, and then cruelly snatched away. But again, deserved, I think. But I do like the immediate hard cut to him walking into what I've termed the after prank room, because they all seem to go to this room after they've been pranked. And she just says that she's a monster. Still fond of her though, because he says a lovely monster, but and doesn't really want to go into detail with exactly how she's beaten
Pranked him.
But just says that she has been. The captain says that he knows who they're going to go for next. He says that they're going to go for a soft target, and this is where we see Pat walking around, and Alison, as Pat walks past, is reading a news story, or a fake news story that she's made up about Scotch eggs being banned. But Pat, his ears prick up, but immediately he knows. And he says that he's not so easily tricked, and he tells the other ghosts about what Alison tried, basically, and failed. Outside, we see Mike is explaining more about this bear. He explains that the bear was outside. It was a difference. What does he say now? He says it's a difference of taste or something like that. And his Alison didn't like the bear, basically. They ask. She asks where the bear is now, and he says it was also destroyed. She asks by the lightning. He says no, it was by a tree. So again, it's just this thing of not the things that it explains that there were 3 lightning strikes, not just one. And she doesn't seem like she's buying it. Basically, it feels like he's losing her. Even says it sounds insane when you say it out loud, and she says it's even more insane when you see it written down. So again, it's not going well for this insurance claim, or so we think anyway. Alison explains to Humphrey, or she's liaising with Humphrey to come up with these plans, and says that the Scotch egg plan failed. To which he's surprised about this, because surely he'd fall for something like this.
I think they thought Pat was... Well, they did think Pat was an easy target.
They do. They go on to say some more stuff about him not long after this, actually. I love this shot as well, where Humphrey literally plays the angel and devil on her shoulder as they sort of pan one side, say, maybe give it up, and leave it there. And then as she sort of... The camera pans to show his head on the other shoulder. He says, double down and get even nastier, basically. And play dirty, is what they say. The ghosts are talking about this, and they can't believe that Pat hasn't been pranked. They say, if gullible's in the dictionary, and there's a picture of Pat's face next to it, which Kitty says, is there? She. I think we know who the most gullible of the they are. But they then go on to say, well, they know who the least gullible person is, and they all say that they basically imply that Julian, with how scrupulous he is and how underhand, he's never going to get tricked. And little do they know that he walks past an obvious fake advert on a computer saying that it has Sam Fox pictures, or it says it has
It's Megan Fox, isn't it?
Sam Fox, it says.
Oh.
Yeah. He wouldn't know who Megan Fox is, would he?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wrote Megan Fox. I obviously didn't read it properly.
It was one of the Fox family. They're not related. No.
Who's Sam Fox?
She was a page 3 model, I think, or some kind of model from... I don't want to say page 3, actually. No, I'll retract that, because if she wasn't, that's damning. She was some...
How do you know?
She's some kind of model from the 80s, basically. Famously did something at the Brit Awards with one... I think it was the guy from Fleetwood Mac. Mick Fleetwood, is he?
Yeah.
There's a clip on... Yeah, anyway, you can Google that yourself. But
keep it clean.
Yeah, but obviously Julian falls for this, tries to click the picture, and it's just
is she shaking her
finger?
finger?
Just a video of her shaking her finger with April Fools.
Yeah.
So he's been tricked, obviously, and again he goes to the after prank room, and he's just really annoyed that he's fell for it, basically. Yeah. We see Alison try a next prank on Pat. And she's talking to him. She apologises for the Scotch egg trick, says that it was not on. As she's cutting carrots, is it? Or something, some kind of vegetable. And she does the old pretend to cut off your finger prank as she starts spraying blood from her new wound, basically.
Such wet blood as well. It's really thin and it's that's not real.
Yeah. There's no
nobody would believe that.
and Pat doesn't. As he calmly stands there, she's apparently bleeding to death. And he explains that he used to go away with dozens of kids when they used to do these his adventure trips. And he's seen every prank in the book, and then goes on to list all the pranks he's had.
He's bulletproof.
Yes, he's bulletproof. And then he says that whereas she, and then mimes that she's in the palm of his hand, and then mimics eating.
It's so
yeah, it's quite sinister. Alison is a bit worried about this because she thinks, maybe he is untouchable. We go back to Mike and we see that he's explaining where the lightning hit. And again, he's really struggling to tell this story because he wants to point to the patch where Robin even says the caveman and then has to retract or stop himself halfway through. And she's just not believing this. And she says, I want to speak to your wife, to sort of corroborate this story. We see Fanny walk into the reading room. And she sees there's a new chapter for a book. And as she reads into it, she starts grimacing. The quote, the girth of his what? Really got me. But she realises that this is some fake page basically put over that page. So she's not as gullible as she thinks. She goes up to Alison and says and lets her know that she's on to her. And Alison apologises, thinking she'd fall for it, and starts to take off her cardigan to reveal some new
inks.
Yeah, so it looks like, I don't even know what it is, like rose thorns or something like that.
It's the way Fanny says tattoos.
Says two tattoos.
Two tattoos.
And Alison says, "Oh, she's had it for ages." And she says, "The bigger one's on her arm." And as she goes to reveal it, Fanny is absolutely gobsmacked as she reveals that it just says April Fool's written on her arm. Fanny's annoyed, but I guess Fanny gets a bit of the last laugh on this one because she's written it in permanent marker. So we see Alison go back to Humphrey and say that these pranks are all working, and she says she does have an idea for Pat, but she wonders if it might go a little too far. And Humphrey sort of implies that he has an idea for Robin and how to get him. And we then cut to Robin, and we see him enter, and we hear a growl, and this is where Robin thinks that the Badger is talking to him. The Badger sort of claims that he's eaten a lot of his ancestors, and Robin goes on to explain that he didn't eat any badgers. He used to eat bigger animals. Starts listing animals as he's backing away, and then says that it's like wild dogs, and there's a dog taxidermy behind her as Alison pulls this on a bit of string to move it and says something as a phone is sellotaped to it, which completely spooks Robin. And he runs away as she shouts April Fool's, so she gets him.
Damn you, Cooper!
Yeah,
it's like the fox that we saw.
It is, actually, it does look a bit like
no monocle though, but it does look like the fox we saw.
And this is where we get our next film reference. As Humphrey's still inside the Badger, and as she picks up the Badger, we get a Star Wars reference from Lawrence Rickard.
Star Wars reference.
Yeah. Which is funny, knowing how much they like Star Wars, or how much Lawrence likes Star Wars. Yeah,
because we found that out from the live stream, didn't we?
I wonder if he improv'd it or if they wrote it into the script, but he says that I thought they smelled bad on the outside, which is when Han Solo has to cut into what is it? A Wampa, I think.
Boring.
Get on with it. Anyway, they realise that it's 11:35, I want to say.
Close to.
They say it's 25. They've got 25 minutes to get Pat, basically, because if anyone doesn't know, April Fools, you have to get your fools in before 12 o'clock, otherwise you're the fool, basically. So there's a time limit on this now. So she realises she's got to speed it up to get Pat. We see Mike continuing to tell the rest of this story. And she's at this point saying she wants to know exactly where Alison was, where the fire broke out. And she wants to talk to her, and we see that Alison is, as Mike is explaining that she doesn't go around just starting fires. We see her trying to light a fire basically outside the house. Alison at this point then goes to try and explain why she was lighting this fire.
Well, no, I was under the tree.
Yes, but I'm just trying to ascertain where exactly your wife was when the fire broke out.
Oh, okay. I see what you're getting at. Well, I can assure you that my wife isn't just going around setting fire.
Mrs. Cooper?
Alison, this is Joy Keelty from the insurance company. About the fire.
Hi, I'm Alison. So nice to meet you. Oh, God, sorry, I think I stood up too quick. This is a practical joke, an April Fool's thing for one of the living people who live here.
Oh, but your policy document says that you are the only two occupants.
We are?
Yeah. I meant a friend. We have a house guest staying, so I'm...
Pretending the house is on fire?
Well, yeah. Well, I thought, a warm welcome. Could you just excuse me for 1 second? Sorry, sick in a bush. I think it must be the
Nerves?
fumes.
So, any other questions?
No, I think I've seen everything I need to.
I love Mike's face in all of this because he realizes that it's like how can I explain any of this? I also like the way Alison just says the line "sick in the bush," sick in the bush. Again, I think this is the point where we realize, I think I know what's up.
Yeah, with Alison.
But it's been like sort of breadcrumbed all the way through the episode.
Yeah.
But with this, the loss adjuster goes to leave. And Mike thinks they've absolutely screwed it, basically.
Yeah.
Goes chasing her down, and she says, as he's trying to like sort of explain that they need the money and this, that, and the other, she says, "Don't worry, it's going to be a full payout." She actually believes him, and she basically says that a real criminal would no way create a story that was so strange that stuff like this only ever happens in real life.
Yeah.
So she completely believes them and does pay out on the loan, as we hear later. We then cut to the final scene, and we see Mike is watching TV as Alison enters, and he says at this point that they've got their money back, so they're back to zero, which I thought was quite funny. She says, Alison says, "Can I have a word in private?" And Mike looks around at an empty sofa and says, "Oh, are there ghosts in here?" As we then
Just
see,
like sat there.
we literally see that every ghost is in there, basically, with him.
It must be so unnerving to not know whether you're surrounded by ghosts or
I know, yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's how we live and we don't even know.
I mean, yeah, there could be 2 or 3 or 4, however many, like, standing over us now, shouting at us, doing all kinds of stuff, but we wouldn't know. If you are a ghost and you can hear us, say something into the mic. No, I was joking. That was a joke.
No jokes here. Not on Halloween.
Not on Halloween. And then Alison basically explains what's been going on today.
Can I have a word with you in private?
Is there a ghost in here? You okay?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I felt a bit emotional, and then hungry, and then not, and then a bit faint, and then a bit sick. And, well, I did a test, and I'm pregnant.
As if! I mean, the prop's a nice touch, but your stooge is wooden as anything, love. And nobody just... It's after midday. Oh, my God, you're pregnant!
What?
Really?
We're having a baby. We're having a baby.
Wonderful news.
Did we get him?
I like how that Pat thinks this is another April Fool.
Yeah.
Just pops in as if.
Yeah.
And then we see that, well, yeah, as you've heard, they all get excited. All the ghosts do that. That Alison is pregnant and they're going to be having a baby. And this is where we, again, it's so harsh. We cut to then Humphrey, who's been completely left out of all this.
After she used him.
Yeah, he's lying on the floor and he just finishes with the words, "Did we get him?"
Yeah.
As we end the episode. Again, just so sad because it's like... but then again, they have to get the ghosts to carry him around, so Alison can't pick him up.
No, she can't.
And that's the end of the episode, so what do you think?
I thought it was really good. I think it was a really simple episode.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I think it was simple. It was funny. It went quick.
Yeah.
The episode was like bam, 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 bam.
Doing the notes, I realised how quick the episode flows because it's like it's just on to the next thing, thing. And I think that's because of like they're doing the individual pranks.
Yeah. It kind of broke it up a little bit, didn't it?
Keeps it flowing as well, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed the episode. As I said, I think it was simple, but it was good. And it was funny. And then obviously what like ghosts as a whole does so well is like makes us laugh and then also makes us feel like emotional. Like we've like followed Alison and Mike for like, I mean, you can say like what, 5 years if you think every year is
essentially
every series is another year, so 5 years, and like it's nice to see like that they're gonna have a baby, and it, you know, it's just sort of I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. It just adds more depth to them as characters as well, and we're happy for them, and like it's a nice thing, and so no, I think overall like really good episode. I was going to give them a rating, but
we'll save ratings for a second. Okay. The I thought it was just a really solid return episode. Like, I like the foreshadowing all the way through it and then the explanation at the end if you missed the foreshadowing. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, but if you've watched it before, you can easily see these things,
that it's coming.
Read some really good gags throughout all of it, and just a fun, simple episode. Like, it's funny. Like, this is the last series, but like, this is like the perfect episode if you'd never watched Ghosts and you just wanted like a taster of what Ghosts was. I feel like this is like the perfect episode, and it sort of has that hook at the end to sort of keep you watching it. I wonder if there was a point, because I imagine their viewership must have gone up and up and up and up, and then it's the last series. So
What date did you say this came out?
October, I want to say the 6th of October. 6th of October 2023.
Yeah, so it's always kind of like we've waited quite a long time. We've waited 10 months. Well, like 9 months if you think of like the if we consider the what's it? The
Kylie special.
But like 10 months since like the last Christmas episode. So, you know, it's been a long time, and it's good, like a good refresher. Like to get us like back into our hearts breaking.
Yeah. Talking to scores, what would you give this one?
I would give this and I feel like this is going to be a theme throughout the whole of series 5. I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Wow, that is a strong score. 9.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like pretty much. I just think it was just such a strong episode to come back to. For like all the reasons that we've said, but I think this whole series, like, I don't think I'm going to go under a 9.
Okay, wow.
With this series. Maybe
that's
I
a
will.
bold claim.
I can't, obviously, it's been, literally a year since we watched it. So, I can't remember really what happens, but...
See, I with a lot of TV series, I remember the beginning and the end, like, of the series.
Yeah.
It's the middle bits that I sort of forget about. So, and well, then again, saying that, I do remember quite vividly one of the episodes in this series.
Yeah.
2, actually. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Never mind. I do remember
it's
quite
just
a lot,
really,
actually. Yeah.
It's just so solid.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm gonna stick with it. 9.5.
9.5. Okay.
And as I said, I don't think I'm gonna go under a 9 this series.
Fair enough.
But I might change my mind. I might do. When we get to it. But,
we'll see. Yeah.
It's tricky, but yeah.
I give it an 8.
Really?
It was just a solid episode, not like the best, but like a very good episode. You know what I mean? Like,
now I'm wondering whether I scored too high.
Well,
no, I think
you've got to go with your heart, Tash.
I do all the time,
Yeah.
and that is my problem. But yeah, I think no, I just think it was really good. I just think it's a strong start, and it just sets us up perfectly for like what's to come. I feel like I might cry.
Well, on tape.
Maybe on tape. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
IMDb with 348 votes, so not as many on this one. I've noticed 8 as well. Bang on 8. No points, no nothing, just
Blimey.
8. So I had a sneaking suspicion you would give it an 8 as well, and I thought it'd be like all of us, everyone is in agreement, 8, 8, 8. But no, it was quite high.
I like to go against the grain.
That is true. That's true.
Ghost Stories with Luke and Tash.
So, we've not done one of these in a while. A ghost story.
It's Halloween.
It is Halloween. A scary story for a scary day. So,
I don't like it.
but we'll get through this quickly. Don't worry. I won't give you the title of this one because it'll give away the entire plot.
Where did you get the story from?
So, I took a popular creepypasta story that they
Pasta story.
creepypasta. It's a silly name that they use for like creepy
thought you meant,
stories.
like, pasta.
No, not actually pasta. They call it creepypasta, don't they? Where somebody writes like a scary story on the internet. It's quite a popular one. I've seen people like do videos on it.
Okay.
But I took the actual one and I edited a bit because my God, is it so straight line? There's no like edge to it whatsoever. And I was like, okay, I've edited it a little bit. So
Okay, hit me.
This is the Luke remix. Dr. Collins worked the late shift at Los Angeles General Medical Center. Earlier that night, he had lost a patient, a gunshot victim. Before he was taken away, he was tagged with a red wristband. The hospital had a series of coloured bands to classify patients, but red was always the one to avoid. It marked the deceased. After the long shift, Dr. Collins decided to take a break to clear his mind. Around midnight, he was called to pick up some supplies from the basement. The quiet, empty halls felt unusually cold, and the shadows seemed to stretch further than usual. Shaking off that feeling, he headed to the staff elevator at the far end of the ward, its fluorescent lights flickering slightly. The elevator door slid open, revealing a young woman in a thin hospital gown standing inside. She was pale, her eyes fixed on the floor, and she didn't even acknowledge his presence. I'm editing my own story here. I've just added words to that. Dr. Collins considered telling her off for using the staff elevator, but decided against it. Patients were sometimes allowed to roam the halls if they needed a walk. Though it was rare this late, he forced a polite smile, stepped inside, pressing the button for the basement. He waited, expecting her to press a floor number. When she didn't, he glanced at her again, noticing how utterly still she was. Maybe she wanted to go to the basement too, but why? He brushed it off, telling himself he was overthinking it. The elevator finally stopped. The doors opened to the dim basement level. Shadows clung to the walls, and a stale smell filled the air. Then, from down the corridor, a man staggered towards them, his form distorted by darkness. The man's hospital gown was soaked in something dark, leaving smeared footprints and a thick trail as he dragged himself closer. His skin looked greyish, his eyes hollow, and a rictus smile was pulled across his face. Dr. Collins' instincts kicked in. He started to step forward to offer help, but something in the man's eyes froze him mid-step. That smile. Panic surged through him, and he scrambled back, hitting the elevator button repeatedly, muttering under his breath for it to close. The door took an eternity, but finally they shut, sealing him in. The elevator jerked as it began to ascend, but his heart continued to pound. "Why did you do that?" the woman beside him asked in a cold, curious tone. Her voice seemed to echo, filling the tiny space. He just wanted to use the elevator. "Didn't you see his wrist?" Dr. Collins stammered, barely able to keep his voice steady. "It was red. He died last night. I was the one who performed his surgery." The woman finally lifted her gaze, meeting his eyes with an unsettling calm. Slowly, she raised her wrist, revealing the band around it. A flash of crimson glinted under the harsh elevator light. She smiled, her eyes dark and empty, like this one. So that was called the red wristband. So I thought if I said that, you'd be like, looking, where's this wristband at then? Yeah, that's quite a famous story, but my God, does it just literally hammer home the point? It's like, the red ones are for the deceased, the green ones are for alive people, and it's like, okay, where are you going with this series? So, like,
we don't need that detail.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so tune in for more next week. if we survive this All Hallows Eve.
Hallows Eve. Thanks for listening. We love to hear what you think, and if you'd like to keep up to date with when new episodes of the podcast are released, you can follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook profile. Just search Haunting Button House. You can also get in touch via email at hauntingbuttonhouse@outlook.com.